KRS, this is Jason. How you doing?
I'm chilling.
It's an honor. We just had Pete Rock, and now we have you. It's like this is my bucket list today. We've completed it. It's
no doubt.
If we got Chuck D, we got the perfect trifecta.
Shit.
You know what? I think we can just quit.
We have a special treat. We have a surprise guest. None of us here knew this was going to happen. We have the blast master, the teacher, KRS-One himself.
Whoa!
Woo! What up, KRS?
I am chilling, man. It is good to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's like every word you say is a sample to me.
So now you have full permission. Yeah, come on.
Documented now.
All right, so man, you've been in Florida for like a week.
Yeah,
You're just like in vacation mode. Are you going to retire and move and play golf down here? I mean, you've been here since what, Sunday?
Yes. Well, look, I've been here since '86. Actually, but this is Look, Florida. I hear that a lot. People say, you come to Florida to retire and this kind of thing. But every time I come to Florida, I'm working, man.
Hey, how was Florida?
Huh? We just bought a new place down there.
Yeah.
I know. We were looking at the brochure.
You what?
Why, you thinking of moving?
No, not really. Because if you are, you shouldn't. There's nothing available in that development.
Are you telling me there's not one condo available in all of Del Boca Vista?
That's right. They went like hotcakes.
Pete, it's lit out here, man. Dudes, the MCs, DJs, it's crazy. I love it. And of course, I was just the other day, I was at a Winn-Dixie and got into a cypher in the parking lot.
Get
out!
Yes.
You rapping about like fresh broccoli and shit?
About. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, man. This is what I'm saying. And it may have been Publix, I don't know. But, right out in front of the supermarket, and that's what I'm saying. The energy, the energy that's here, the right of town. This is hot for me,
cool.
literally.
That's nice, man.
KRS, man, I saw you a few years ago in Milwaukee at the rave, and I got to tell you, one of the things that's so great about your live show, and I want to know if we're going to see this tomorrow night, it was you on stage, you, and a DJ, but you. No hype man, no other people carrying the shit. Carrying it for like 2 hours. You still do it like that?
Wow.
You still do it like that?
Yes and no. I yes, that's the standard though. I mean, that's the straight up standard. Absolutely. And I may even do that tomorrow. And the reason I hesitate is because I do have students with me. And the thing is only when I have apprentices with me do I have other people on stage. Not that they'll be on stage tomorrow. They may open, they may not. But DJ-wise, I may have an apprentice on stage with me. But the as you mentioned, the standard is what you just said. That's what I normally do. It's just usually me, because people get in the way as well. I have certain flows, techniques, rhythms that only I can do for myself. And if you have a side man there, sometimes they could trip you up. It could be clumsy in that sense. However, for the side man, big up the Spliff Star with Busta Rhymes. Shout out to Phife Dawg. Even though Phife was not really a side man,
Too big MC.
Too big.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
And as much as we love Scoop, he did take over the mic a little too much.
That's right. Well, see, but that's what I say. There's a thin line there between a co-star and a side man, someone backing you versus someone fronting you, or siding you.
Now, I know you're going to be speaking out. Now, I remember you speaking when I was at college at the Florida State University, FAMU area.
Yeah.
And I remember it was about 89, 1990, and I went to go hear you speak and kind of talk about politics and life. And, I looked at hip hop from, of course, I'm an early guy as well, over 30 years of loving 30 plus years of loving this art form and what it is. And you really moved me that day, man. It meant a lot to me as a person who was trying to understand and navigate this thing that I felt that I helped create, help promote as a DJ. And you just really, the way that you went about your early part of your career, it was really education first, the way that you did things. You spoke from that side of the mouth, and I appreciate that to this day.
Wow, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris, this is Kev. I hope I get this question out because I'm starstruck right now. I am like, a little shaky here, but listen, I can't thank you enough for your time. I want to ask you, with everything that you've done for the culture, everything from the Stop the Violence movement to now you got like your KRS-One Hip Hop Jedi Academy, and you're bringing on all these apprentices and just everything that you've done to bring rap, not from just like a music and rhyming and working with hip hop beats, but making the entire hip hop culture footprint deeper than just the rhymes and incorporating the DJ and the graffiti and the breakdancing. What along your career are you most proud of that you stand behind and you're like, yes, I did that. I'm so proud of that.
Wow.
You didn't think you were getting this tonight.
just one thing, a pinnacle thing. I would definitely put the Stop the Violence movement at the top of the pile.
Okay.
I definitely would put that. The song Self-Destruction, even though we followed up with HEAL, Human Education Against Lies, it was even a bigger project, and even though the song Stop the Violence preceded the Self-Destruction song, it was the Self-Destruction song when we all first got together and said, let's speak out against this particular issue of violence. That was probably the pinnacle.
Self-destruction, headed for self-destruction.
But in my own personal book, but I tell you, man, it's been 30 years, and
yeah.
You've done
a lot,
have
man.
to break that. You have to break that into categories.
Yeah.
In certain senses, because I think about, you just made me think about working with Shabba Ranks and like Ziggy Marley and these people, bringing reggae into hip hop.
Right.
would be something that I would just sit back on the influence of reggae into hip hop in that way. Around that time, the late 80s, early 90s, you had the jazz influence as well. Stetsasonic had already did Talking All That Jazz, and I don't think Jazzmatazz was out yet, but hip hop was experimenting with jazz. Run DMC had already did the rock fusion as well, had huge success with that. Reggae is where I would sit back on and say, yeah, the influence that we put there is we still hear it today, and it's permanent. It's in that sense, and that's why I say putting it in certain categories. It's like you make me think about this. Like, really, I don't. It's not every day you get a question like that. But it definitely takes you back. As a matter of fact, you're making me want to start my recorder here, my little journalist recorder.
We can send this to you.
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate that, because you're making me think, actually. Wow. Interesting.
The P is Free is probably where I first heard that influence, where you're bridging the gap between Jamaican music and hip hop.
Absolutely.
Live and direct. Boogie Down Productions is live.
And you've expanded. I mean, I know in 90 or 91 you were on an REM joint radio song.
Hey, 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 hey. Check it out. What are you saying? What are you playing? Who are you obeying? Day after day in. Baby. You hear that stuff is driving me crazy. DJs communicate to the man.
How did that work?
Yes.
Was it Michael Stipe that reached out to you? Was it Warner Brothers that put that together? How did that come about?
It's crazy. It's two people that it was weird. Here's a short story. It was a publicist named Layla Turkan who ran Set to Run Publicity, and an artist named Billy Bragg. And me and Billy Bragg was protesting. We were together in Washington protesting when the CIA threw President Aristide out of Haiti. It was a coup, and everyone knew what time it was. So the people were fasting, and Haiti was in a mess again. And President Aristide was on the run. So me and Billy Bragg got together with some people, and we started protesting the U.S. involvement in the Haitian coup. While we were there in Washington, D.C., here comes Layla Turkan, who was our publicist, both of our publicists at the time, and she was also working with Michael Stipe. So she said, she's the one that then said, wow, you, Billy Bragg, Michael Stipe, y'all should get together and kind of work on something. But that didn't even work out. What happened was about a month went by after that. We got on the phone, we talked, but nothing came of it. It was when I was doing my first lecture ever. My first lecture I ever did was at Yale University, 1989. And they had sent a limo for me, and me and Michael got in the limo with Layla, and we went up to Yale, and that's where he said, yo, we doing this album, and we don't even know the name of it yet, but we want you to be on it, and this kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, because, again, back then, also, me and Michael had got together because he was a big environmentalist in the sense of, the greenhouse gases. This is the 90s. This is like 90, right? 90,
yeah.
90,
yeah.
Actually. And, people weren't discussing these issues as flagrantly as they're being discussed today, of course. But, he was on the forefront of bringing awareness to this. We were meeting on these issues, and it just one day in the studio, right after the Yale thing, right after, they say, yo, I'm going in the studio like the next day after that. Come on in and just hang out. 2 minutes, next thing I know, I'm on the mic, and we're just rhyming, just doing our thing. I did more rhymes than that, but they kind of took that one and said, yeah, let's just ride out with that. And the idea was that Michael was supposed to say those rhymes. I always wanted Michael to say those rhymes himself.
That's wild.
But he said, he wasn't going to do that. So
it's funny because that era of artist, even Sinead O'Connor at that time, she backed By All Means Necessary as like a must listen to anyone who has any heart, soul, activist on any level. And I think that's just that alternative scene, not only from the UK, but what was going on in the early kind of what we considered alternative music in the late 80s, early 90s, that catapulted BDP to that next real level. Even before Chuck,
yes.
It was beautiful, man. And I remember that very well.
Yes. Wow. It's a bit of history there. That's right.
Yeah.
You never shy away from politics or obviously what's going on, and your new album covers some of that. I know, well, at least this is what I read. So I know you voted for Ron Paul a few years ago. I know you cannot be happy with what's transpired today. And that's kind of come out in some of your new music. Do you want to speak on that? I mean, if there's anyone listening out there that really follows what people like you say about politics, I mean, this is it's an important moment in time of what's going on and some of the vulnerability that we are in, especially being in Florida now. I know you're feeling some of this where the shooting in Parkland recently happened. So, I mean, you as someone who's been around this, who's been open about this, I mean, what is your take on what's going on and where we can kind of go from here? What can we do as everyday people?
Wow. Well, you mentioned that last part, everyday people. That's where it starts right there. Forgive me if I'm a bit too philosophical in answering this question, but I go right to where I believe the problem stems, and it has a lot to do with pushing the reset button on the whole United States of America. There's a lot of bad karma that the United States has. All nations have, but we talking about our place. We talking about our home here, America, United States. And if first of all, if we can't have honest conversations with one another, then obviously the problem's just going to exacerbate until finally we have an all-out civil war, because this is where we're moving forward to. This a kind of civil war. Probably won't be like the last Civil War, that Lincoln had to fight. It probably won't even be a physical civil war in that way. But definitely, we're already going through an intellectual civil war where, where people's opinions are so divided that we can't agree on anything. And this is the real piece when you say everyday people. We're so programmed in that way where if you look at the world, even the United States, I'm going to go real quick with both. Right here in the United States, I travel all over the place. Obviously, we're on tour, we're moving around. And so everywhere I go, everywhere, the South, North, Canada, Mexico, California, New York, everywhere we go, people are trying to help people. People are trying to encourage people. People are helpful. Of course, you have your idiots. Yeah, they out there too. You see that as well. But the majority of Americans are actually deliberately trying to make America great again. I don't believe I just said that.
Yeah.
But
you'll be on ET tomorrow.
But realistically, there's no other way to put it. Real Americans are out here trying to make America great again. I'm out here in Florida. Obviously, a couple of days ago, I was in Orlando. I was chilling on Disney World. I was somewhere around the Disney World resort area, and I was at this bar waiting at this hotel. Just park over at this bar. I'm sitting down. Two cops walk in, and they asked for a glass of water at the bar. One of the cops recognized me. Yo, KRS, what's the deal? We sit down, we start talking. Come to find out, we from the same neighborhood. He from the Bronx, I'm from the Bronx. We talking about the 4 train and the 5 train and how they messed up the line. People, and then after a while, I think it caught us both that, people were looking at us because we were loud. We were standing there, and so it's like, we're joking, we nodding each other. Yo, yeah, you remember that? Yeah, this and that, da, da, da. So, you look at the picture, okay, here's me, I'm KRS. I got a Tupac shirt on, by the way, at that particular moment. I had a Tupac shirt on, jeans, sneakers, I'm chilling. I'm at the bar, doing my thing. The cops walk in. None of this antagonism, none of this racism, none of this. And I know that this is not the everyday of the United States. I know the relationship between some police officers and some communities. Yes, I do know what that is. But I also know that the average everyday, that's the key word, the average everyday. The average everyday person is not going through half the stuff we see promoted on television, through the media, and so on. Mm-hmm. This stuff is being sold to us.
And we're being played.
We're
being played.
I'm actually driving through the safest country in the world. Mm-hmm. I'm actually driving. Now, of course, and like I say, I always have to say this. Yes, there are idiots out here. there are people, and let me be respectful. There are idiots, and then there are those who have mental challenges. There are people who are really going through mental challenges, whether it be depression, whether it be some sort of just a mental challenge. In that sense, something hereditary. America's full of that as well. As the statistics say, that half of America is on prescription drugs anyway.
And that's part of a plan, too. That's play, man. We're getting played on that front. It's all about views, how long you're going to stay watching television, and how long you're going to do spending your money on things that need to be promoted, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's prescription medication. This shit's been going on far too long. It's a joke. I mean, the fact that it used to be big tobacco, now it's pharmaceuticals, and you could even say that we're being pimped by the television community. It is ridiculous at this point.
The revolution will not be televised.
That's the truth.
Are you recognized everywhere you go? I mean, you've been in the game for so many years. You're such... you're on the phone now. I'm nervous too. Like, yeah, you're it. You're fucking Willie Mays of hip hop. You are such an iconic figure, and you have influenced and educated people for decades. Not a decade, decades. I have to imagine whether you're in a Wawa, a 7-Eleven, or a Publix, they know who you are. They come up to you, and they just want you to just talk. Like, you could do a fucking thing on children's stories, bedtime stories. People would listen. You know, like you're black. You're the teacher. You have such a way about you.
Yo, Gabba Gabba, please call KRS.
Yeah. So my question is, are you recognized everywhere you go at this point?
Oh yeah. I mean, but it's a healthy thing because. Again, I mean, look, my children are the ones that get aggravated. Not anymore, but when they were like, now they're 20, 19, this kind of thing. But when they were 12, 13, we would go somewhere. Of course, I'd be recognized, and they would, you got to stop for another autograph. Oh, you got to stop for, this, a picture or something. And over the years, they've even come to realize, and this was the saying that I used to say to them, they grew up with this. And they grew up me saying to them that the problem is that if you walk into a room and no one recognizes you or walks up to you or harasses you, you have a problem. Your career has a problem. So what you want is to always be harassed and bothered by those who respect or honor or admire your art. I don't understand artists that have no time for their fans. And some of them are my friends as well. I've been places where I've been with other artists and the fans are coming up and they're like, well, security. And I'm like, nah, I don't understand that. Everybody is, first of all, a person honoring another person is a sacred thing. That's a sacred thing. It's like, especially, when you're in certain neighborhoods, I get this from all kinds of people, especially men, where all types of men will run up on me and be like, listen, man, I ain't no punk, man. I just want to say that straight up to jail, but, can I kiss you, just on the cheek, or can I give you a hug, or something like that. But it does get there. They say like, yo, straight up, it is a respect level and it's healthy. That's why I say it's a healthy thing. Not on the ego or the arrogant level, but on the level of it's been 30 years. If you're still interested in me, I'm the one that's humbled. If you're willing to come out to a show and get a babysitter and spend your money and put money in the car, people got to get ready. They got to take showers. They got to do their hair. They got to, to come out to a concert. You're going to do all this for me to come out? Oh, I got to break you.
We're all going to be babysitters tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, don't go on too late. We're all old here.
Exactly. We're all old. And you got to take your picture
I'll
with
go on at
take your personal
6:30.
radio.
No, I know, but what time are you actually going to perform?
What do I go on, 10? Actually, I think I go on at 10.
Oh,
I think
that would be
on at 10.
Real?
No.
Real?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh,
we go to bed at
no.
11.
Woo! Simone just put a wrench in everything. No. Simone just put a wrench in everything. She said I go on at 1 a.m.
What?
1 a.m.
Come on.
All right, you're gonna be
1
killing
a.m.
me.
She said
It's like the next day.
we go on at 1
Wait,
a.m.
this-
I might have to come to your studio
Wait.
and perform this show
Yeah,
for you.
no
So
doubt.
you have a lecture at 7. It says over at 9. What, you take a nap from 9 to 1?
No,
The students.
maybe I'll go see a movie or something. I don't know.
Oh.
You should hang, you should chill with us.
You
You should
need to
chill
hang
with us.
Take a personal radio.
So-
Maybe
at the
I
table.
should.
Yeah.
My question, because obviously you are recognized everywhere you go, do you feel a certain sense of responsibility as far as an artist, a musician? Because you are a larger than life figure. You are an icon in this industry. You've fathered many styles. You've influenced almost everyone. As an artist over the years, have you felt like you've carried a burden, or you've had to maintain a certain level of, I don't know, hip hop integrity with the music you make, or even maybe the way you carry yourself?
Well, wow, you just curved the question at the last part with carry yourself. Because I was actually gonna that was actually my answer, was that it is. Yes, there's a sense of responsibility, but I wouldn't put that on everyone. But for myself, yes, there's definitely a sense of there's a deep sense of responsibility. It really comes down to what you stand for, like what you and not the cliche what you stand for. It's like when you get up in the morning and you put your feet on the floor and you stand up. What did you get up for today? What did you stand
Intention.
for? And your intent, right? What is the intent of your day? And my intent, it just in terms of my person, my intent is always to empower the person next to me. If I can do that, that's my deal. And it's also a habit as well, because as a father, you grow up like that. As a husband, you grow up like that. You have to empower your wife. You have to empower your children. You are a power pack within yourself that has to empower others. And of course, you get your empowerment wherever, whatever variety of sources you get empowered from. But I want people to be empowered around me. If you're around me, you should feel healthier. You shouldn't be hungry. You should be clothed. You should be sheltered. You should have your dreams fulfilled. In that sense, this is why I like to start ciphers when we're in live on stage. I hope I'll be able to do it tomorrow. But if the place is right, if the mood is right, just before I get off the stage, we open up a real cipher with the opening acts or acts that want to just jump up, MCs that want to get up and do their thing. Yes, there's a sense of responsibility that says, no, there's somebody in the crowd that was just like me 30 years ago, and this is their shot right now. They can't get this shot no other way. This is it right now. It's my response ability.
Right.
I'm responding to the fact. This is my response. I'm like saying, yo, you just enjoyed the show. You got that, but let's get into the tradition of what we do real quick. Let's get the cipher started. Spit with me right now. Get on the stage if you got the heart. Let's do this right now. And a lot of people jump up there.
Some
gonna-
crash and burn, and
Yeah,
some don't.
Some don't. But listen, I'm going to flip it for a minute. I'm going to go into a little bit of hip hop folklore. I got a question. I mean, as monumental and as powerful as Criminal Minded was as an album, I mean, I would love for you to kind of talk about how that was prepping for an album like that, because it was so, I guess, low tech at that point. I really want to know, did you steal Marley Marl's reel of all of those snares and kicks that basically you got? The story was that you guys kind of went into the studio. He kind of didn't give you the respect that maybe you guys deserved. I mean, a lot of people know about that, but did you guys pretty much make Criminal Minded off of Marley's beat fucking reel to reel back then?
This is a mystery. This is a mystery, and let me tell you why. This is a mystery because I and Scott LaRock did not technically lift anyone's reel-to-reel out the studio. It wasn't us. Now, the one who was producing our record, though, was a guy named Ced G from Ultramagnetic MC.
Of course.
Okay. Now, Ced G was our producer. He had the drum machine and the 4-track that we was doing our original music with. But Ced G was not using a reel-to-reel. Ced G was using floppy disks. Now, here's where the controversy comes in. And here's what I think happened. That I used on The Bridge Is Over, I used the kick and snare from Eric B. for President.
Right.
Which is
a Marley track.
Marley Marl drum sounds. Those are from Marley. Marley produced Eric B. for President. So I used the kick and the snare from Eric B. for President for The Bridge Is Over. Now, the kick and snare for The Bridge Is Over, the original Bridge Is Over, the one that appears on Criminal Minded, that is Marley Marl production. Not his production, his sound.
Right.
Those are his sounds. So Marley, when I interviewed Marley a couple of years ago, he claimed that Ced G stole his reel-to-reel, copied it, and then put it back in the studio. And that's how we got our sounds. Now, the other part, just to be technically correct, that's the only record that is in discrepancy is, or would be, The Bridge Is Over, because the other sounds were sampled from breakbeat records. Those were specifically breakbeat records. Criminal Minded, Elementary on on the album Criminal Minded was a drum machine, in just a straight up DMX drum machine. Everything else was pretty much sampled from breakbeat albums and so on. The only song that's in discrepancy is The Bridge Is Over, and in that sense. But Marley does like to take it further and say that the whole Criminal Minded album, we got all our sounds
Keep us all talking.
from him. You know
what? Actually, perfect opportunity for this question here because it's 30 years after The Bridge Is Over, right? KRS, you're driving on the highway up in New York, and you see a highway sign where it says Queens or Queensbridge, X amount of miles to the exit. Do you still look at that word Queensbridge, and smile a little bit and pat yourself on the back like, yeah, I got you?
I do that with the whole of New York, to be honest.
Boom! Yes!
I do that with the whole of New York. That Queens is look. I love Queens. They still got Gabby's Pizza over there,
and they still got the Mets.
I'm addicted. It's a funny thing. We did Criminal Minded and By All Means Necessary. Actually, the first 4 albums, Criminal Minded, By All Means Necessary, Ghetto Music, and Sex and Violence, was all done at Power Play Studios, which is in Queensbridge. And it's a funny thing. We used to have to go over the bridge every day to get to the studio. Interesting thing. My wife, Simone, is a Queens native. Her best friend was Jam Master Jay. That's how her whole camp is Run DMC. That there's a whole deal with her on that side of Queens as well. But yeah, when I look, I tell you, when I go to New York and I'm like leaving on the turnpike or something like that, going toward Baltimore or something, you do put a smirk on your face. This year I had a frown on my face because I left New York in like 16 below degrees. It was like 1 degree or something crazy.
It was a rugged winter.
One of the snowstorms or something. It was ridiculous getting out of New York this past winter, but I was so happy. I was going to the Sundance Film Festival with will.i.am, and I don't fly, so I was driving, and to get out go from one snowstorm to another, it was just ridiculous. It was like, I'm never doing this again.
getting back to the whole Queensbridge thing, it's ironic. You retired a lot of rappers. You beefed with some rappers. You threw some rappers off stage, and you worked with Marley in 2007. Ironically, after all of this, so that was pretty crazy. I mean, I think a lot of people thought that came out of nowhere. So that was that years in the making. I mean, what transpired where you guys were like, let's do this?
You know, I tell you the truth, it was karma. It was really karmic because at the time I was on Koch, In the Paint Now Records, actually it's E1 now. But at the time I was there. I was being distributed there, so it was weird because I knew Marley from the very beginning. From the very beginning, me, Shan, Marley, Shantae, Biz, Kool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane. We've all been close, all of us. Even recently, me and Shan was battling. He got twisted in himself and started making remarks about me online, and I just took it upon myself to smack him around a little bit. But but we always been friends. It from the very, 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 very beginning, and so the karma then came around, and this was the karma for me. It was that I wanted to do some. I wanted to bury the hatchet especially with Marley and with Magic, with Mr. Magic, before we did depart, before we did leave the earth, and that was the project to do it on. Marley felt good about it. If you remember, during that time, Marley had a heart attack.
Yeah,
during that time, he was almost out of here, and you start getting epiphanies right around that, experiences like that. And Magic did actually die after, I think maybe a year after the album was recorded, maybe a year, even almost like 9 months after the album was recorded. Magic did pass, and I was so happy to have said to Mr. Magic that that we were friends, and that the past is the past. We were young, we knew what it was. We're MCs, we're DJs, because it did go deep. We all said things to each other that were immature and shouldn't have been said in even outside of battle, because back then it did get serious a few times between us, and we had to cool ourselves off and get back in place here. So it was like, here we are now, grown men, and it's one of the reasons why I don't do the full Bridges Over anymore.
Out of respect.
I do the Bridges Over, but I don't do the full Bridges Over because the second half of the Bridges Over is brutal on the Juice Crew, Magic
Naming names.
Shantae, but with
naming names.
So it's like, Magic, he has full family and people there, so I don't run around dissing him, in that record. I do only half of it, because half of it's sort of like the warm-up.
And we've all grown a bit, too, you know what I mean? Which is respectable.
No, absolutely. It's that's it. That's really what it is. So it's like, but the album, it was really a karma thing. And so me and Marley got together, we did it. Shan was there, Shantae, everybody was there. I mean, they didn't appear on the album, but, we had a chance to do our thing. But then, like I said, the main thing was that Magic then passed. And that's when I said, wow. It recently, Love Buck Starsky just passed.
Yeah.
And I was with him there in Vegas 2 weeks before he passed. And it was a weird thing because I'm there in Vegas. It was unplanned. He just came out, so he's there on stage and he's just rocking with us and doing his thing. And, he's just there, and I mentioned to the crowd, this is Love Buck Starsky. This is who started, this is who gave us the word hip hop. This is who's credited with giving us the term hip hop. And here he is, and we laughed and joked about it. He said, I should have trademarked it. I was stupid. I should have trademarked it. And he just went on. And 2 weeks later, he passes. Bam, that's it. And it's like, wow, I got an interview with him. I got a chance to rock on stage with him. Actually, it was his last show. And he sent me a text the night after he rocked with me, sent me a text. And the text was, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, he said, if I died tomorrow, at least I didn't go out like a sucker.
Oh man.
Just like that. He said, if I died tomorrow, at least I didn't go out like a sucker. I got a chance to rock with KRS-One. And he sent it out. He said, love you, brother, and that was it.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, boom, that was it for him. And it just made me think, like, you know, just the importance of, say, like the album you mentioned, you know, Hip Hop Lives as an album. Yeah, to do that with Marley, it's good for your life. It's good for your karma. It's good, you know, you get to sleep at night on things like that. You like you said, it's respectable. It's not just about how much money can be made or what fame or video or, you know, whatever that's about. Yeah, this is part of any project, but the deeper part to the actual art is when your art is in tune with life, when you're doing art for meaning and purpose, and you see it, like, you know, you went in for that reason, and then, you know, this happens, and you say, wow, I was covered right there, and here's my testimony. It's written down. It's called Hip Hop Lives, and that's what it is, and that's, yeah, word.
KRS, you said something earlier that kind of, it made me think for a minute. Shan, you said he, you know, disparaging words or whatever. What's up with that dude, man? Are you guys cool? Or is he just, does he have moments, or what's the deal?
Yeah, yes. Everything you just said is yes.
Because, I mean, it just sounds like that was weird. It's like, okay, I thought, you know.
He seems like he goes in waves.
Yeah, which way is it? Is
he
that
gets
just
that time of the month.
A publicity thing?
But that's life sometimes.
He just spazzes. Yeah. He just spazzes out. He just spazzes. He's Shan. He's crazy. He's what it is. But the thing is that, you know, I will look. I would not have a career if it wasn't for MC Shan. Let's start right there.
Yeah.
Okay, Shan answered me. I did a little answer record called The South Bronx, and he had the audacity to answer me, and that is really how my career begins. And so, you know, if any book is written, if any movie is done, if any legacy is called, you know, I'm indebted to MC Shan. He's crazy. He's out of his mind. But at the same time, he is.
Gotta tell, man.
He's part of my legacy. He's part of what it is. But it's all good.
He has some dope records too. He has some dope records. I love the second album, the one with that pioneered this.
Oh, no doubt. What?
Dope album.
KRS, listen. As a legend, as someone who meant so much to me, one of your most honest lyrics drives me to my next question. 50 years down the line, we can start this. We'll be the old school artist. I got to ask you, because you've been from the entire stage of what hip-hop has been, like myself, sometimes I feel a little out of place because when I ask this question to people who are like golden era fanatics or, you know, 2000 guys, who's that producer that like meant so much? For me, it was like a Larry Smith. To me, it was a Mantronix. These guys were doing things that were very creative and very different for the time. Like, what was that music that made you, before you became actually KRS, the superstar, you know, or the artist, who was the guy that was driving those beats that made you want to, you know, do this, that you loved?
Well, you know, it was, wow, I'm going to date myself right now. When I was coming up, there weren't any producers like that. There was one producer, and his name was, oh, wow, I just had his name, Thriller. producer of Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones was the equivalent. He's not even the equivalent. I mean, Quincy Jones is beyond the names of the producers I'm even mentioning today, the impact that he had back then. But when I was growing up, before signing to Jive, B-Boy Records, before any music, even before leaving home around 17, 18, when I just started thinking about being an MC and you start looking for beats and looking for what your music is going to possibly sound like, it was, we only had one producer. It was Quincy Jones. And if you even knew that he was a producer, if you even had the word producer in your mouth, and you knew that he was the dude that hooked up Michael Jackson with Thriller. And I mention that because, again, Michael Jackson were the people that you would look up to. These were the guys, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Isley Brothers. James Brown was just simmering off when I was coming up. He was just simmering off. The breakbeats is where James Brown had been relegated to. Everybody was playing his music, Sly and the Family Stone, but he wasn't doing big tours anymore in that sense. So we were looking at bands. We were looking at whole bands and saying, yo, we want to look like them. We want to dress like them. We want to do it like that. So when I was coming up, you had guys like Peter Tosh, who was big in the hood. Bob Marley was huge. Records, certain songs, like the Doobie Brothers, songs, anything. See, and let me just back up real quick and say, also, this was a time where the audience was into the artist and not even so much the music. It was like, yeah, you was into the music, but it was the artist that was into the music. The musician was into the music, and you was into the musician. So it was like whatever the musician put out, that's what it was. And we just got with it. There was none of this rating of music or putting music against music and saying, well, this compares to that or that with this. It was a time where, you know, you didn't care. Michael Jackson's coming out with a new record next week. It's like, whatever it is, it's going to sell 1 million records because we're just into Michael Jackson. Like, that's just what it was. So, you know, just understand the logic of this. So when you see someone like, let's say now, speed up the tape a little bit, come over to Run DMC, and you see, you know, 3 black dudes from Queens with, you know, no shoelaces in their sneakers, fresh Adidas, gold on their neck, leather from head to toe. One of them dudes call himself Run, and he's always counting money.
Just rough.
He's in
raw.
front of a Cadillac.
Yeah, pretty dope.
This is when that happened, it was like, hold up. This was a whole nother thing. Now, when you say influences on me, then now you start entering the realm of DJs and just basic break beats. We were looking up to crews like the Rocksteady crew and graffiti crews like the Tats crew. If there was people to look up to, because the Tats crew, they used to do the whole sides of trains. This was a graffiti crew. They still exist, of course.
Of course.
And they used to do the whole sides of trains. I don't want to give them away, but they used to do top to bottoms, and everybody knew that first of all, you had to risk your life to do that. And so it wasn't just art that was on the train. It was like they got away with something. It was style with it. It was like a style, like you actually did that and then put this type of art with it, like total defiance of the system. So we was looking at that. We was looking at graffiti writing. We was looking at breaking and so on. Now you get Run DMC. Now you get a guy named Russell Simmons. And this is where hip-hop as culture starts to bubble, because it's no longer just Earth, Wind, and Fire. We used to just look at Earth, Wind, and Fire, and that was it. It was Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's all you saw. You didn't see Earth, Wind, and Fire and then their manager. Like,
Yep.
you know, you didn't see Donna Summer and her manager was just as huge as she was. That didn't occur. Russell came out and was like, there's Run DMC, there's LL Cool J, and then there's this other guy over here that's an executive. He's not rapping, he's not doing any of that. He's just the guy counting the money. And he became a he became a celebrity. So it's like, these are the things that are influencing us. This is what started Boogie Down Productions when we looked, not even so much at Russell, because we all started around the same time in that sense. And really, as an artist, the influence was Run DMC. That was the influence. Melly Mel, The Message was the influence. The Treacherous Three, Kool Moe Dee, LA Sunshine, Special K, their flows, even some one hit artists as well, like Super Rhymes and T-Ski Valley and with Heartbeat, these guys, Jazzy 5 MCs with Red Alert's first group. These guys, they had one hit out, but the
Can you feel it?
Major.
Can you feel it? That Jazzy Sensation.
Yes, my Jazzy Sensation.
That's my favorite. Orange Label. Tommy Boy, baby.
Huge influence. Huge influence. These records, are the ones, and these groups, these are the influences. Yeah, just of course I could go on, but it's when you say initial influence, like, before it was KRS, who was it? Go back, like I said, Peter Tosh, Bob Marley, Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire, of course, Sly and the Family Stone, James Brown, the Watts Poets, the Last Poets, all of that is just, this is all in the house too. My mother's buying these records too, vinyl. She's buying it every Friday. She's coming with 2 records, 1 album and 1 12-inch vinyl. And it was a religion. It was tradition. Every weekend when she got paid from her job, she'd buy 1 album and 1 single.
$3.99 and $5.99.
No doubt. That might have been too much. These records was like $1, and like albums was like $3. I don't know. This is like the 80s,
I'm gonna bring it back to the 90s real quick for us golden era dudes. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this, because we're talking about great producers and things like that. There's one in particular that I feel that you guys have always had great chemistry. You put together some of your best work, and that's the GOAT. That's DJ Premier. Can we expect to see KRS and Premier again doing it? I mean, whether it was Return of the Boom Bap, Out of Here, MCs Act Like They Don't Know, Higher Level, which is one of the greatest fucking beats ever. I mean, we need more of that. Hip hop needs that. I think it's long overdue. So,
Rappers Are in Danger.
Yeah.
Best fucking song.
So, for the people listening out there, I mean, is there a possibility of you guys working together? I know you work with a lot of cats, but this is one in particular.
Yes. No, we keep threatening to do it. But the thing is that the public, really for Premier, it's really on Primo. It's not really on me. I'm always ready. Always. I can do an album anytime, anywhere. I'm always ready. But it's Primo. He's a perfectionist. He makes beats, and he, what kind of album is this? A 15 cut? A 12 cut? Is it an EP? Does he do all of it or some of it? You had mentioned Pete Rock just before this interview here. Pete Rock was on. That's somebody I'd like to do an album with.
Of
course. Pete Rock lays down. I heard some of his beats that he was playing for Sway on the Wake Up Show, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to get in on some of that. But yeah, no, this I would hope one day that we could do a record with Primo, but it's really on Primo. And I think the public has to demand it from Primo and say, listen, Primo, we're not going to play any more of your music until you do this record with KRS. We need another Return to Boom Bap Part 2.
Nice.
And do that. I'd be totally up for it. But and I think it may even actually happen because my best work is still in me. I still don't feel like I've reached my peak, to be honest with you. I say that respectfully, of course. I guess it's been 30 years. But I honestly, I got a little more in me that I can get out. And for me, it comes with the rawness. Certain tracks, we can open the imagination of the listener a little broader. Yeah, absolutely.
People listen to Tony Robbins. I listen to you, KRS.
Wow.
Look, we could do this interview all fucking night long, and I would love it. But I know you given us plenty of time, and it's been an honor, a pleasure, and I know from all the listeners to us here, this is a surreal experience, and I can't wait to see you rock the stage tomorrow.
Not only that, every night after you do a concert, what do? You do the cipher. I want you to do a Take It Personal cipher about the interview you just did, rapping off the top of the head, talking about what we talked about. Is that a possibility?
That'd be great.
Now on the phone?
Yeah, you got it.
If you're performing tomorrow at 1 o'clock,
so we're doing it
at 11:30.
We're not going to do the cipher. I'm asking you. You just talked to 5 people who just broke down things, how they feel about someone like you, what you meant to us. So the fact that we can get this freestyle, it could be 20 words. It doesn't matter. Talking about what we just did on Take It Personal Radio with the mighty KRS-One, I'd be like honored.
Well, here we go then. 3, 2, 1. Take It Personal Radio. This is the way to go. KRS, this is the personal radio. What I mean by this is what I say in the class. What we're doing right now is called a broadcast. When I say broadcast, this is what you need. Go back, get the dictionary. Broadcast means throwing seed. So when I throw seed with the freestyle rhyme, I'm throwing seed into the listener, into their mind. You got to understand what I'm saying on the radio. This is personal. This is the way to go. You see, tomorrow I'm going to rip this down. I'm going to let these cats know from the West Coast to the boogie down, from the North to the South. We coming off the top. We doing it like we up in Canada, like we on the top. But I'm going to do this right now for Eazy-E and Scott LaRock. I'm going to do this right now for Heavy D and Tupac. I'm going to do this right now for Big L. I'm going to do this right now for all my dudes in heaven, no hell. So I'm going to say one time, it's a personal radio. KRS-One, this right here, that's the way to go.
Wow.
Dude, I love you so much. It's beyond words. I can't even describe what I feel right now. But here's the thing. I got to have you just do one thing for me. I'm the DJ of the show.
That?
I'm the DJ of the show, DJ 360. I just need you to say, DJ 360 is down with us.
DJ 360 is down with us.
Philla Flavor is down with us.
Full of Flavor is down with us.
Kevlar 3 is down with us.
Kevlar 3 is down with us.
My man Aaron down with us.
Aaron.
My man Aaron is down with us.
Roger is down with us.
My man Roger, he's down with us.
Making funky music is a must. Thank you, my brother. This was a beautiful interview. This was very special for Take It Personal and the Take It Personal crew. Behalf of our listeners, bless you, man. Bless you.
Line for line, word for word, MC to MC. I don't think anyone could touch you, man. And I can't thank you enough. I'll thank you tomorrow. And you and me can go to Winn-Dixie, get a chicken tender sub, and we can do a cipher in the back. But this is surreal, man.
Over the chicken tender.
Thank you,
Thank
man.
you, brother.
Thank you so much.
You're
man.
actually hanging up on the wall in the studio, brother. I appreciate it.
Can't thank you enough, man. Have a good night.
We'll see you tomorrow, pal.
Thank your wife, too, for me. I appreciate it.
All right, peace, man.
Peace.
Peace.
All right.
Yo, this is KRS-One. You're checking out the Take It Personal radio show. Yeah!
You can listen or download your favorite episodes of Take It Personal at takeitpersonalradio.com.